Hello, my name is Jesse Mecham with another episode of The Jesse Mecham Show, and I'm here each week to obsess out loud about worrying. Well, today I want to obsess about worrying. I think we all obsess about money to a degree, but it's not obsession, it's worry. I think it's universal that we humans worry about money. And it doesn't have to be that way, but it is that way. It just is. It's like you're not allowed to pet that cute jellyfish. That's life, right? No matter how cute that thing may look to be. We're looking for solutions to that worry so much of the time. And one that I've found, both personally and just in my observations over the last 20 plus years, is a lot of us tend to think, you know what? I do notice that I worry about money, and I know exactly how I'm going to fix it. I'm going to make more of it, a whole lot more, shovels more. And then, magically, that worry of money will go away. And your dreams may have taken you so far. Actually, just yesterday, my daughter Faye asked me, how much does that house cost, pointing to a house. And I was like, oh, definitely $1 million. And it blew her mind. And I said, well, $1 million isn't just what it used to be. So she goes, Dad, what about $1 billion? So we had a discussion about $1 billion. And I did the whole, well, your safe withdrawal rate of $1 billion would be $40 million, which would pencil out to be that you could spend $165,000 every day. And then the next day you could spend $165,000 and you would not run out of money. And so she's like, oh my gosh, I would buy so much gum, spearmint gum. And I had her get a piece of paper and a pencil, and I was like, write down everything you would buy, because you could buy that gum, and the next day, what are you going to buy? Because you have $165,000 the next day. So she's like, I'd buy a house. And then I was like, well, which state? So then she was like, well, Maui, Florida, Utah. And I was like, okay, now we're cooking. And then she's like, and I would have maids. I was like, okay, now. Wow, you got there quick, a little too quick. Honestly, we went from gum to maids very quickly. But it was fun. It was fun to see her try and figure out just how much money that was and how you would spend it all. A lot of us, in our worries about money, not that Faye was, but in our worries, we don't think, oh, if I had $1 billion, here's how I'd spend it. But we do tend to think, oh, if I made six figures, if I made 25% more, even my next raise will solve this problem. That's how we handle it. And there's two things wrong with that. One is it doesn't work, but the second thing is it's this future handling. You do this thing, you're like, oh, well, I'll get to that next week. Oh, honey, I'll get to that next week. The car's making that weird noise. I'll get to that next week. That kind of a thing. And when you're solving problems by saying you'll do it later, you have not yet solved the problem. So there's that. But the first and most important point here is that it does not work. And just to get a little bit personal with you, because y'all know I do that all the time anyway, I've tested this. Now, I am not a billionaire by any stretch of the imagination, but I definitely make more money than I did when I was 20, 25, 30, even 35. And just this year, about 5-6 months ago, Julie and I were talking about something, and there was this low-level worry just cropping up about money. And you know what I did to solve that? I told her, I said, we need to double down with YNAB. If you don't know what I'm talking about, YNAB is the software that we've created to help you never worry about money again. Or if the worry crept back in, you double down with it. You become friends with it once more. And we did that. I kind of just blank slated us, fresh started us. And I was like, all right, what are our targets? What do we want to set up? How do we want to do this? We did this thing where you give every dollar a job. And that worry that both Julie and I were feeling, it had been a slow buildup over time, but that worry went away because we had given every one of our dollars a job, and we had thought about those jobs. You're not just thinking, what you want your money to do right now? Maybe when you're first starting out and things are really tight, you are thinking just that. But you're also thinking, well, what do I want my money to do next? And then you're thinking, well, I want to build a little bit of margin in my life. How could I maybe fund next month a little bit? And then it gets a little bit fun because you're like, well, what do I want my money to do for me? If it's for me, so I'm thinking about me, thinking about Julie, uniquely us. What do we want to do? And it's like, well, we love to travel. We love to knit. We love board games. Name your thing. But the money is doing that job of helping you just be more you. And it's also paying the electricity bill with no stress. That's how you stop worrying about money, is you give every dollar a job. Now, there are some of you, you're like, listen, Jesse, I would never get into knitting. I would never get into travel. As a matter of fact, how I've decided to solve money worries is I'm just not into any of it. I'm just not a material guy or gal. And that is easy to say. And one of my good friends back in college, he claimed that was his solution. He saw money as evil instead of good. And I remember having a pretty intense conversation with him. This is before either of us were married or had any experience, really. And he was just like, I live in my car and I save this and this and this much money. And I don't want to be part of the rat race. And I was just kind of like, but have you found another rat to share this life with that might not want to live in the car? I haven't checked on him lately, but my guess is that he realized that that whole I don't care about money, I don't need any money kind of a shtick doesn't do well if you have someone depending on you or if you're, sharing a life with someone. So it's fun to think about and romanticize and watch movies about and novels, that you can read and things like that. But it is not the solution to not worrying about money. The solution is, as I had said before, you give every dollar a job. And you start to gain this clarity. The lack of clarity is the source of the worry. It's not that you don't have enough. It's not that you don't make enough. I have to caveat or asterisk this sometimes. There are people that truly their money problem is that they do not make enough money. But I'm not talking to those people here. I'm talking to you. And you make enough. And you can shed the worry entirely. You just have to look at your money, give it a little hug, that precious resource you work so hard for. And then ask yourself, what's this for? What is this money for? And you start to say what it is for. You start to direct it. And you gain clarity because you're having to ask yourself the question, and the question forces the trade-off that you can't have it all. You find out what really matters to you, and your money lines up with what matters. What's this money for? You just ask yourself, you give every dollar a job. And when you do that, your money worries just kind of fade away. Not all at once, but they do fade away. And if you do this right, with YNAB, of course, I can't even joke and say that. You can do this a lot of different ways, but we've built software. Go to ynab.com/Jesse. We've built software to help you literally never worry about money again.